William Hung from American Idol is a motivational speaker? What? Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Dupree, scouring the globe to bring you stories of courage, passion, and resilience. If I could sum up this podcast into one word, I would use empathy. Now let's get inspired. Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I am your host once again, Brett Dupree, here for episode 52. Wow. Time keeps on ticking into the future. As I am now at 52, that is a year worth of episodes. Today I talked to someone famous. By far my most famous guest. Holy crap, William freaking Hung. You know, in 2004, when I watched William Hung and enjoyed his time on American Idol. Honestly, I didn't really like that show. My friends watched it, and I did see the episode with William Hung, and I remember that, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's pretty cool. I like him. He didn't cry like a baby like everyone else did. I hated American Idol for the reason of you have these three people who are amazing at this field. They would tell people, you're not good enough now, but if you do this, this, and this, and this, and this, come back next year and you have a chance. And then they'd yell at them and go away screaming. And I was like, you just had advice people would pay thousands of dollars for in an opportunity to get, amazing advice from people that you most likely wouldn't have been able to get in front of. And they told you that you have the talent. You just need to work on some things. These are what you need to work on. And then they get all upset and crying. I mean, of course, they're the joke people, but it's just, for me, I found that just annoying of watching people get upset over and over and over again. It's one reason why I liked So You Think You Can Dance better, because the people who got rejected were generally very thankful just for the opportunity. Maybe because they're just used to getting rejected of being dancers, but I just like that better. And so when William got up there and did what he did and then acted gracious and, was like, I just like singing and having a good time. And they're like, all right, there's nothing they could say. And then afterwards, they showed it and then he blew up and yeah. So, but this is not the part where I talk about William Hung. But at the same time, I was saying in 2004, if you can tell me 15 years later that you'd not only meet William Hung, but I would have a quote unquote type radio show and William Hung would be one of my guests, I would have said, what? Anyways, this is the part where I'm vulnerable because how can I expect my guest to be vulnerable if I am not vulnerable myself? So I'm going to talk about my life and what's going on. Today was the first day of something I'm doing called the HMR diet. It's a diet plan where to take away thought, I have to eat 5 servings of vegetables, 2 of their pre-made food, as well as 3 shakes. And so I'm giving it a shot. It's through my work, so I get a discount of 20%. If I stick to it, my food budget will probably go down to a third because I just go out to eat almost every freaking day and spend like $50-something a month a day on food. And I probably will go out less and spend less money on fun time because a lot of time when I go out because of food related reasons or alcohol or something like that. So this is actually going to save me money. Just showing how much I spend. But the reason why I started is because I started my weight loss goal and it wasn't going well. I was like, there's no more excuses. This is what I'm going to do. And then I made excuses and then I just didn't continue. And in my first month, I lost all the weight I gained, gained all the weight I lost and just pretty much started over again. And I just need to break this habit. It's something I've been going on for a year now. And honestly speaking, all I've been is 400 to 420 for a while now. Last year, it's probably around 390 to 410, and that just got up. I'm like, I need to do something different. The issue I do have, this one's a little bit more high carb, as that might cause a problem for me, but we'll see. But today, it's the interesting part, or the part I like, is as long as you eat food that's on their list, you can eat as much as you want. In fact, they encourage you, especially at the beginning, to eat what you want. Meaning, if I need to feel like I'm hungry so I can eat 5 apples, I can eat 5 apples, or, as much as I want apples and oranges and fruit and veggies and the like. So I do like that aspect of it. I'll just see. I am supplementing with a few things that they don't recommend, but they don't not recommend. So I'm having cacao powder, of course, and BCAA, which might slow down my weight loss, but I don't want to lose my muscles because I love my muscles. And I'm worried by the very low calorie aspect of this diet that I'm going to lose muscle. And I don't want to do that. But you're all supposed to exercise 2,000 calories a week. So that's like 300 calories a day about. But, I'm going to give it a shot. How can I do more damage to my body than I already have, in a way? But at the same time, I do best when I have support. I do best when people around me support. So I'm going to go online and talk about it, especially on this Facebook group. And then I'm going to do weekly calls on Wednesday. And I'm going to continue. Right now, I feel okay. I ate a lot of fruit today. My thought is for the first week to eat as much fruit as possible, or veggies, and they recommend 5, and I'm probably at 10 to 12. But I'm not hungry right now, so that's a positive. I will see if I feel weak tomorrow. That's something that worries me. I remember when I was in wrestling, which is probably when I really ruined my body, metabolism back then. Well, that and the dealing, as I learned dealing with the breakup of my parents and the abandonment of my mom, that released a lot of cortisol when I was a child. And at that point is when I started to get fat. So I know that is an aspect that can cause it as well. But at the same time, I remember when I was in high school and I would try to lose weight for wrestling, the thing I did was eat a lot of low-fat, high carbohydrates. In fact, I ate even olive oil and margarine. Olive oil butter, which didn't melt. It was disgusting. And I would eat that on noodles. I'd eat tons of rice, noodles. I would lose a lot of weight. By the end of the season, I just felt weak as heck. I wish I knew about keto back then, because I probably would have just done that and ate real butter and enjoyed myself and probably lost more weight, but mostly kept the strength because I think that's just how my body works. But at the same time, I just need to do something. And I understand weight loss is not the ultimate goal, but I don't want to be over 400 pounds. I'm sick of it. I need to make sure I don't stay this way and work on it and do something to help lose the weight and then work on my body's metabolism and rev it up and figure that out. But it's just the way that I am. I can't live this way. This is just too much pain. I am sick of the pain. I'm sick of just, my left knee's been hurting for a while. It got better, but I think just being this heavy doesn't help the knee heal, and it still kind of hurts, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the pain. I'm tired of hurting all the time. I'm tired of my hip pain. I'm just tired of the pain. I don't want it. So I'm trying this. It's through my work. And yeah, so a lot of it is just, you don't fail until you give up, and I'm never giving up. I'm never giving up on this podcast. I'm never giving up on my dreams, and I'm never giving up on trying to be at a weight where I feel good. I just want my body to feel good, and it's been not feeling good for way too long. Even though I think I got a breakthrough. I'll talk about this next week. I think I talked to my therapist this week. I want to talk to her about it first. And next week I'll talk about this revelation that I had. So keep in tune for that. But speaking of a revelation, let's get down to my interview with the William Hung. After his American Idol audition, William Hung's rendition of She Bangs became famous for all the wrong reasons. Despite a humbling start, William redeemed himself. He has since appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and the Ellen DeGeneres Show, and even performed live with Ricky Martin in Las Vegas. William has spent the last few years studying the world's top performers and public speakers to uncover their secrets to success. Using what he discovered, he skyrocketed his first studio album, Inspiration, to #1 on the independent Billboard charts. His latest TEDx talks has already been viewed by over 35,000 people in less than a month. He has spoken for Microsoft, REMAX, Qorvo, and other esteemed associations. He now helps purpose-driven business owners go from hidden gems to industry rock stars. By leveraging public speaking, he helps them uncover their unique message and use it to get them booked and sell out their stages, webinars, and live streams. Now here's my interview with William Hung. Hello, William, and welcome to my podcast.
Thank you.
How are you doing this fine day?
Oh, I'm excited to help your listeners to think about their planning for 2020 and right now how they can find more joy in their lives.
Those are some great things.
Yeah, well, everybody wants to be happy.
I certainly do myself. Tell the listeners your story. I believe last I saw you were on American Idol.
Yeah, well, that's where most people know me from. So I auditioned for American Idol back in 2004, and I didn't expect anything. I did not make it to Hollywood. In fact, even Simon said, "You can't sing, you can't dance. So what do you want me to say?" But at that moment, I had a choice. I could get angry and upset like everybody else, or I could be happy and gracious about it. And that's what I did. I chose to be happy and positive.
That seemed like a very good choice at the time because it was so much different than all the other American Idol people that they showed. And it seemed to actually kind of connect with the audience back then.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable response because, yeah, like you said, for some reason, most people get really upset when they get the bad news that they didn't make it to Hollywood.
So I'm curious, what was it like back then writing that 15 minutes of fame that you received?
Well, I didn't know what to expect or how to navigate. It's more like just one day at a time. But so many crazy things happened, but a lot of it were the good things. I got a record contract. I got so many opportunities to do commercials, travel and perform all over the world. I really was living the dream life for about 4 years.
So what was it like after those 4 years was over?
The way I know that things slowed down was I got fewer opportunities. I didn't get paid as much to show up to the similar locations and similar events. And that's when I thought that I needed to go back to school and finish school, get a stable job. And that's where I've been for the last 8 years.
So did you miss it? Did you miss being in the limelight when you had a regular job?
I would say yes now, but there was a period of time where I thought it's okay. You know, I financially I was doing well. I reinvesting my money. I did not blow my money on cars or yachts or anything like that. So yeah, there were many years where I thought it's okay to settle. But I would say the last 3 years, something was bothering me inside. It's like, why am I settling being the average typical guy when I was and I still am a legend? And I didn't say that myself. That's what people tell me. It's like, why would I settle being for being the average guy? I mean, I have a choice. I could, but why would I want to do that? It doesn't feel right. I only got one life to live.
Makes sense. Life is all about choices. For instance, you could have chose to be bitter and you would have just been another person on American Idol. And your choice of being kind of joyful, kind of just connected with people. And then now you're making a different choice to push your life forward. Does that sounds correct?
Yeah.
What are you doing to bring more joy into people's lives? It sounds like what you want to do.
Well, I like to help out in the different events around my local area or state. I would say the particular thing I feel very passionate about is helping people with speaking, helping people find their voice.
Yes, that's very important. A lot of people have a lot of great things to say.
Yeah, and it's getting harder and harder to be heard. And that's the thing that I struggle with every single day. I still struggle with it to some extent. I'm not immune to it. It's not like post something and just because I'm the American Idol guy, 100,000 people like me. It doesn't work that way anymore.
So what is it like now?
Well, one of the recent posts, like the Aristotle quote I put on Facebook, that quote is really worth sharing. So he said the wise words. He said, the only way that you can avoid criticism is to say nothing, hear nothing, and do nothing, and be nothing. That particular quote got me over 12,000 views with over 50 shares already. Just that one quote. So yeah. People really resonate with that one. Think about your life and what do you want to express? How do you want to articulate it?
So when it comes to helping people speak, I know that you coach people in speaking?
Yes.
Do you have any doubts in your ability to do so?
I don't have doubts in terms of my ability to convince and influence people. I mean, let's face it, nobody's perfect. You know, it's not like I'm suddenly the superhuman. I get everybody to say yes, nobody ever says no. No, that's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, I trust that every time I get the opportunity to speak nowadays, I will be able to maximize my impact.
And how do you go about maximizing your impact when it comes to speaking?
The interesting thing is that it's not just about your story anymore. Unfortunately, the days for getting on stage with that crazy story, let's say you climb Mount Everest on a pogo stick, is over. Even by my American Idol story, it's not that appealing to people that want to bring me on stage. So instead of focusing on that, I need to shift my focus to be a solution provider. So every time I open a conversation, I don't talk about myself. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to get to the point I'm talking about myself. I need to understand what their challenges are, what problem they want to solve. And then when the time is right, then I can share my expertise, my life journey, my resilience, and all that other good stuff.
Cool. So what do you mean by solution finder?
Let's say I had a phone call recently with somebody. The way I opened the conversation was, what problem are you trying to solve by hosting that event next year? And then she told me everything that I needed to know about the membership disconnect. So the event that I was discussing was Toastmasters District Conference for next year. And then what I learned by asking questions was that a lot of the members, they are struggling with the new education program, and therefore people who are leaving, we have problems with member retention. So by listening to that, I can figure out, okay, now I can offer my solution, my speaking program, wherever you have in mind to that person on the other side of the phone. And then, oh, that makes sense. That's how you have to connect the dots in order to earn the opportunity to get on stage.
That makes sense. To listeners, I actually met William at a conference, and during a conversation, you're talking about how people are telling you that your story is a great story of resilience. I was wondering if you can talk a little bit more about resilience and how that relates to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Resilience to me means that you're not giving up no matter what. You still have that dream vision, and then every day you take steps to pursue it. My dream vision for the next 5 to 10 years, as crazy as it sounds, is to create my own William Hung Academy. And then it will have 3 floors. The first floor will be for speaking. The second floor will be for entertainment. And then the third floor could be gaming. I'm not sure exactly how that would lay out, but I have a picture. It would look like a pagoda from the Confucius. So yeah, I'm working towards that, creating that.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So how does resilience how does it really look in your life? Was there a time when you thought about giving up?
Of course. I mean, I'm also human. I went through difficult times. So a couple of things that I mentioned in my new book, Championed by Choice, was when I went through 2 divorces. Especially after the second divorce, that's when I wanted to kind of give up. I mean, not give up in like, ending my life or anything like that, but just kind of like coasting along. There was a 6-month period where I didn't want to do anything else. I was just like clock in, clock out, spend my time playing video games, watching football games, wasting my life.
Sounds like you had a little bite of depression there.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the way I got out of it was one of my friends woke me up. She set me straight towards the beginning of 2017. And she told me, I really admire you. You were so great. What happened to you? And that really was a wake-up call.
It's always good to surround yourself with quality people who are willing to call you out when you're not living up to your true potential.
Right.
So do you work hard in surrounding yourself with good people?
That's actually one of the most important priorities in my life. The days of me showing up at random events, networking events are over. I'm now very intentional with every single event that I go to.
Nice. What's your main intention when you look for an event to go to?
Obviously, I want to continue to build my network, but there's also other things in like factors. Since my passion is speaking, I would like to go to events where I'm either learning how to speak more effectively, like the Rock Your Talk workshop from Kristen Thompson, or some event where I'm speaking and then I could network afterwards. I could build connections, talk to other CEOs, sales directors, and so forth.
So how did you discover your love of speaking?
I would say I started the speaking journey about 8 years ago because I was working for the sheriff's department after American Idol. And every day I was reading about the depressing police reports in order to extract data to report to the FBI crime system. It's not the most exciting job. After work, I needed something fun. And I saw a poster for actually online, not poster, but online promotion, and it says Toastmasters. So I thought, well, okay, that sounds like fun. Maybe I can find that performing spirit within me again. Maybe I can just go do some speaking speaking karaoke.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
So you started your speaking career by going through Toastmasters, and what made you what was your first speech outside of Toastmasters?
I would say the first speech outside of Toastmasters was about 3 years ago. So I was in Toastmasters primarily for fun for my first 5 years. And then in 2017, when my friend inspired me to get out of my own depression, she also reminded me for my first album success, Inspiration. She told me that she doesn't believe it was because of my singing talent. Not a surprise. Instead, she said something very profound. She said, do you realize you have inspirational messages in between the songs? And that's when I thought, wow, maybe it's because of my speaking. Maybe that I'm saying things that's inspiring people.
And that got you into... What was your first paid speaking role?
It's also about 3 years ago.
How was that, the first time getting up there and being paid for your actual inspirational message?
It was very nerve-wracking. So the first closing keynote I did was for the Asian Real Estate Association of America. I was the last person. They were doing an officer installation, and I thought I was already like nervous. I mean, I was also very excited. I had so much adrenaline, and then the president came over and said, "Our future depends on you." Oh, no, don't say that. Yeah, I mean, I got it. I mean, I did it. Overall, people loved it. People were really inspired. They said it was above their expectations. You know, everything went really well. People were entertained, inspired, empowered. So yeah, that's how everything got started.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me in your last story is the feeling of nervousness and excitement. They're pretty much the same thing. It's pretty much our choice of how we actually direct that energy.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, the nervousness will never go away, but there is a way to channel that energy better. So it's more positive, more productive.
I'm actually curious. It seems throughout your career, at least through our talking, other than when you've gone through divorce, you've had a very positive mindset of always looking for the best in the situation. Was that something your parents helped cultivate in you?
I would say they're definitely part of it because my parents, they never put too much pressure on me for my academics. They just want me to do my best and have a happy life.
That sounds very nice.
Yeah, it's not something to be taken for granted because a lot of the Asian parents, they're very demanding. If you don't get rank 1 in your test in Hong Kong, they could beat you up.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
So you're going through your speaking, and what made you decide to actually want to help people with their speaking, help people get paid for their speaking and get their message out there?
I feel that in order to live my life to the fullest, I need to do something to help other people, serving other people. There is something about helping and serving other people that brings me joy. It's not for money, you know. Yeah, I mean, of course we need to have a reasonable business and make a living. Primary motivation is not money. My primary motivation is to see other people do a great job sharing their wonderful ideas, whether it's, you know, plant-based diets, whether it's very unique art forms in Japan. I want them to get their message out there, get the story out there, because they're so much happier. They smile. I smile. Everybody smiles.
So I'm curious, when it comes to helping people, especially at first, do you have this feeling of what's called the fraud factor? This idea is, who am I to help other people? What do I know?
Well, I still do to this day. It's because I'm not the most successful professional speaker ever. I cannot compare myself to someone like Anthony Robbins, but at the same time, I still learned a lot from this 3-year speaking journey that a lot of other people can benefit from. So no, I think now when I put things in the right perspective, I feel much better.
So do you have any fun success stories from working with people that you've helped?
Yeah, so the biggest success story so far is how one of my clients, she got accepted to do a TEDx talk in November.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I know. It only took about 6 pitches to local TEDx events. It all happened in less than a month. And then now it's, the long process, preparing her talk, make it as best as possible. But yeah, this is great win.
So what does working with you look like if someone were to, hey, William, will you help me with my speech? What was to be the first way you'd start working with them?
The way I approach it is still more like the spirit of Toastmasters. I have a very clear idea now in terms of what I need to ask for, charge people for, and what I can give for free. So I would say that, for example, if it's some newer member, they want to do the best job possible with their icebreaker, I say, yeah, 100% yes. And the way I work efficiently with them is that, okay, you put in the work, you write a draft for me, and then I give you feedback. Because that's quick, right? Because they already put in most of the work, and I only need about 10 to 15 minutes to go through their speech and give them some pointers. But in terms of the longer commitment programs, it's not just one speech. It's going to be an actual result. For less, and I like you mentioned, my ideal client is someone that wants to get out of Toastmasters or local events. They want to speak for the next level and maybe the annual events from associations.
What main advice would you give someone who'd want to go to the next level, other than, of course, hiring you? And
yeah, of course. So there are 3 important things that the listeners can do. Time-saving tips. Number 1 is to create just one good speech. It takes about, I would say, 30 days to really get everything together. One system, I have no problem supporting this system, is the Rock Your Talk structure from Kristen Thompson. Hers is pretty good, but there's also other good ones out there, like Kendra Hall, Stories That Stick. You could also look at Patricia Fripp. So there's a lot of good structures. Pick one. Don't go crazy. Don't try to mini, miny, mo. Pick one good talk. And then pick up the phone, call a few associations or organizations, Rotaries, whatever. Pick a good event, do a couple of those, get some videos of you speaking. So that's number 2, videos of you speaking. And number 3, you need the video testimonials from decision makers, not just from the general audience, but from CEOs, from presidents, from vice president of sales, people that matter, people that could write you a check. So those are the 3 steps.
I can see how hiring a coach could really help you with those 3 steps.
Yeah.
Have you had a coach?
Yes.
What would you say the main benefits to hiring a coach is?
The main benefit for hiring a coach is that you spend less time making expensive mistakes and you get to your final destination faster.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot less. Like the things I just shared with you and the listeners, those are things that's not in the book. You won't find in any manual anywhere. I learned it from experience, but I know for sure because when I talk to hundreds of decision makers, they always look for those things.
So what was your most expensive mistake?
The most expensive mistake was during my very first phone call with the CEO of the association. And I introduced myself. I tried to tell him my cool story about American Idol. And then he just hung up on me. Not interested. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That must have been harsh.
Yeah, that's why I shared earlier. It's very important to open with something that's not about yourself. It's about them.
So I'm curious, how do you deal with rejection?
Learn something from it each time so that you're less likely to lose the deal for the same reason next time. Learn something from it, right? It's either learn or win, but learn something from each one.
So what's your favorite part about being a coach and helping people through their speaking?
The favorite part is helping them. I'm happy when I see someone make a big breakthrough. The lady that I work with that got the TEDx talk is obviously the big breakthrough, but not everybody will get the same breakthrough. It's not typical. There's definitely some chance involved, right? But even for one of the mentees that I work with, she finally gave her first speech in Toastmasters, and people say it was masterful. It was the best thing they ever heard. That to me is validating, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, it is super fun watching people succeed.
Yeah.
So we are coming to the end of our time together. One thing I like to ask my guests is for a 1 minute of motivation. You can imagine this, such as if you have a time machine, you can travel back to your 8-year-old self and you want to give yourself everything you need to live a successful life, but unfortunately you only have a minute. Or you can think of it as condensing your entire life's message into 1 minute. So are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Everything in your life is a choice. You can choose to be happy or you could choose to dread it. Even from my American Idol, through my work, through my transformation now to get into speaking, coaching, whatever path you want to take, just take that next step each and every day. Take inspired action and you will get there.
Awesome, William. Thank you so much for being on my podcast. I truly appreciate your message of resilience and seeing what could happen in your life when you have that positive attitude, especially if you surround yourself with good people who can help build you up when you do get knocked down. And I love the fact that you've now taken the American Idol experience and your experiences through that life are now serving people and helping them get their message heard, because so many people have great stories, and the more people getting their great stories out there, the better this world will be. So thank you so much for coming on my podcast, and thank you so much for your contribution to society.
You're welcome.
May your day be special.
Yeah, you too.
And there you have it, folks. That is my interview with the William Hung, former American Idol, 15 Minutes of Fame, reality TV superstar, now to motivational speaker. What an interesting tale of somebody who took most advantage of what was given to him, was able to save up some money and then start a career, but then noticed that, you know what, I am meant more for this life. I am meant more to do great things and to truly help people. He is in a position to help people, and he does, which is just great in service. There is something that is truly infectious about fame and be able to get yourself out there and make that money, and that can corrupt. But true joy and satisfaction comes with helping people, comes with serving others, and that is what William is doing. And yes, I met William in person at the Princess Thompson Rock Your Talk event. It was nice, and honestly, I was a little bit, oh my god, I can't believe I am meeting William Hung. It's just weird to me. Again, I saw this guy on TV, and then I met him, and he seems so genuine, such a nice guy. The person that you see on TV is that William Hung, and just watching him getting excited about working on how to take his business to the next level, because that's what good people do, is also continue to learn and continue to grow and be humble. And he was such a humble and gracious man, and I was very honored to meet him and get to know him a little bit better. And it was cool to talk to him on this podcast, and I enjoyed his story. I enjoyed how he continued to have a positive outlook on life and continue to use that positive outlook to serve people, to help get their voice out there. And that's the thing about speaking, is that even though there are a lot of stories out there, not all stories connect with all people. For me, the story of Pandora changed my life. It is one of the reasons why no matter how sad I get, I don't get suicidal, because I always believe there's hope. There's something about the story of Pandora, when listening to how all the troubles get in the world, but the one thing, the most important thing she was able to keep inside that box was hopelessness, and thus man always had hope. I decided that day, just hearing that message, and that stuck with me. And personal stories also do the same thing, and we don't know what stories stick. And the more stories we put out there of our triumph, of our going for it, the more people will be touched by it. That's the entire idea of joyous expansion, is that I raise my joy and tell my story, and that spreads to other people, and they spread in theirs. And that's what William is doing, is he's expanding joy by getting more people to get their stories out there so they can touch the people that they need to touch, because each person has a specific story that is special to them, and that story is also special to other people, because reality is our life problems are not so special that we are the only one. There's someone out there with your specific problem that you have overcome that needs to hear your story. And that's why I do this podcast. That's why when I always want to make sure I ask about their struggles and what they've gone through, because just in case the person listening is, oh my man, that is me. That is who I am. And they were able to get through that. So can I. I am scared and introverted, and this person's still going for it. I can still go for it and get my story out there. So thank all the people out there who can share their story. And that's what excites me about people like William, who work on getting people to share who they are, because that is important. There's 7 billion people in this world, and guess what? Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, they can't reach them all. Listening to many stories, Albert Mensa's very inspiring. His story doesn't touch me. It just doesn't. But it touches another person. Some other stories touch me. I love listening to Les Brown. He inspires me. He hits those parts. But other people won't listen to Les Brown and think nothing of it. And some people just need something different. I mean, we all need something different. And yeah, just going on this rant is just get your story out there. And if you want to work on getting your story out there, William Hung is here to help you. Check out his website. willhung.com. You can also go to his Wikipedia page. Sheesh. Someday I'll have a Wikipedia page. Yeah, go to willhung.com where he has a free gift, the 4 pillars to becoming a speaking superstar, so you get your story out there so you can change other people's lives. There you have it, folks. That is episode 52 of the Joyous Expansion podcast. I am proud of that. 52, a year worth of episodes. Finally hit that goal in December. So what? I wanted to hit that in January or May of last year. It doesn't matter. What matters is I hit it now and going forward. So thank you once again for listening to me. Once again, if you want, you can email me at BRE2Ts, at joyousexpansion.com. You can also check me out at joyousexpansion.com, thechurchofawesome.com, as well as Instagram at joyousexpansion, Twitter at joyousexpansion, and Instagram at increase your joy. If you like this, please like, subscribe, all those fun things. Leave a comment, leave a review. I'll love you forever if you do. And once again, Brett Dupree, the champion, authentic joy, the catalyst of transformation for the Church of Awesome, and the Joyous Expansion life coach and blog podcast host, wishes you to be love, to be joy, to be awesome. Now play my jingle.
JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Come and say hello to Brett Dupree. He is an inspirational life coach. Good for you and good for me. He turned my life from grey to blue. I'm sure he'll do the same for you. Get in touch and you'll see your life will change dramatically. JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Yeah.